Australians who manage to return from India are unlikely to face fines or jail time despite tough travel restrictions imposed on the country in the grips of a deadly coronavirus crisis. The ban has sparked backlash from the opposition, medical groups and sporting stars, but Scott Morrison is digging in.
Falling to her knees, pleading with the Prime Minister for help.
Every day my people have been killed. I go through trauma every day.
Lillian desperate to help her family in Africa.
We're bringing many people across under our refugee program from Africa, so we are doing that. And if there are family members or others who are part of that process, I know Michelle will pursue those matters with the Immigration Minister, OK?
Emotional scenes just minutes after Scott Morrison's press conference wrapped up at Beef Week in Rockhampton, facing questions over tough penalties for Australians trying to flee COVID-ravaged India.
I respectfully disagree with the critics on this one, but the buck stops here when it comes to these decisions.
One high-profile critic in cricket commentator Michael Slater in India for the IPL and taking a big swing, tweeting, quote, "If our government cared for the safety of Aussies, they would allow us to get home. It's a disgrace. Blood on your hands, PM."
No, it's obviously absurd.
Signalling hefty jail time and fines are very unlikely to be imposed on anyone able to get home, despite the penalties being trumpeted in a late-night press release on Friday.
I think the likelihood of anything like that occurring is pretty much zero.
Well, why were they announced? Why is it, if it wasn't just virtue signalling, pretending to be tough?
The PM pushing back as he calls for patience.
It's temporary. It's until the 15th of May.
Flagging flights could resume within weeks, but the Northern Territory still warning it will only take returning Australians into Howard Springs if it can manage the existing caseload.
We've had an improvement in the case numbers. I think all of us recognise the humanitarian need in India. I want our flights to resume as soon as possible.
That's not soon enough, according to the Australian Medical Association.
The government, in our view, should be doing everything in its power, chartering flights, using our Defence Force if necessary, to bring the most vulnerable of the Australians in India home.
Labor argues the government's handling of the India travel ban risks harming relations in the region, warning it could be detrimental to countering the rise of China.
Central to that are strong relationships in our region. I don't think the way the government is currently dealing with the India relationship is consistent with that.
But the PM not backing down.
It's my responsibility to do everything I can to prevent a third wave in this country. And so I make no apologies for that.
Trudy McIntosh, Sky News, Canberra.
India has surpassed 20 million total COVID infections after recording more than 357,000 new cases today. Deaths rose by nearly 2,500 in the past 24-hour period. India is now the second nation to pass 20 million infections after the United States. The country added 10 million positive tests to its infection tally in the last 4 months alone.